Thank you for downloading and happiness.
Dare to be happy. We are two curious friends that want to explore what makes us happy.
In each episode, we will take a topic in alphabetical order and discuss how it relates to and impacts happiness.
We'll live the experience of each concept through a dare that we set each other and then talk about how it affected our happiness.
As well as diving into psychological theories and evidence which supports or contradicts our personal experiences.
In other words, in this show, psychology meets play.
I'm Kitty Newman, Director of Trapeze Media, a digital marketing agency that leads with social. My company philosophy is based on the importance of play in all our lives and how important it is to be happy at work. I have been obsessed with the circus for a few years, hence the name Trapeze Media, and making time for things like handstands and aerial in amongst the day-to-day challenges that come with running a successful business makes me happy.
My name is Klaudia Mitura. I'm a work psychologist and learning and development specialist with a purpose to boost happiness in the workplace. I love experimenting and applying scientific research on happiness to my daily ups and downs, or just to prove my other half wrong. I also like to look for happiness in unusual places, so I won't shy away from diving with sharks or starring in a pantomime. Sometimes this gets me in trouble.
So the big one, this is the what we've all been waiting for, Klaudia. We've all been waiting to know what the meaning of life is. No. We've all been waiting, Klaudia, to know how important meaning is in our lives.
I'm speechless.
Meaning and happiness.
Yes, that is a big topic.
I did think when we brought up meaning, to discuss meaning and its relation to happiness, I did think maybe we were going a bit over our heads.
Yes, but we also agreed we're not going to go into big answer of meaning of life. We're just going to look into more practical meaning. But I do have an answer to your question on how important it is. It is very important to our happiness and well-being. So there is plenty of research. And people who feel they identified their meaning and purpose in life, they do feel significantly more happier, they feel more in control, and they feel they can have more positive impact in the future. So meaning is quite important to our happiness and well-being. But I'm much more interested, Kitty, in your 3 alternative lives. So our dare was to think about almost parallel universes and parallel lives and what else we could be doing in life. And have you discovered anything interesting in terms of meaning in relation to those 3 alternative lives?
Well, I found it a bit hard to find the linked meaning, so I was hoping that I'd work it out at this point, at this juncture. So my 3 alternate lives was... One was a film critic.
Ooh, I can see you doing that very well, Kitty.
Because I think that was my missed job. You know, when I look back on my past, I'm like, I could have been a film critic because I wanted to do film studies. And I like writing. I love films. I love talking about them. So film critic. The other is a circus performer, like a professional circus performer touring the world and meeting these amazing people. And then... trying to find the third, I was thinking of more jobs, but I didn't like that. I thought, try and think of something that's not a job to define this life. Mm-hmm. And so what I came up with was actually a foster parent. Although that is a job, but that's so far away from where I am at the moment. But it's something that I've thought about in the past. And so... it has been in my head of like, I could foster kids. And then I suppose where I got to with these decisions was thinking about past crossroads or past situations that could have gone in a different way into this alternative universe. And I thought I could be a foster parent to kids that aren't going to go anywhere else.
And what do you think would give you satisfaction and the meaning in each of those lives?
The foster parent would have the satisfaction of caring for something else and looking out for these kids, bringing joy into the life. The circus performer, she finds the joy from all of these new experiences and people. The film critic was kind of like creativity and like exploration and understanding of creativity. Yeah, I think the film critic was a funny one.
The fostering and the circus performer, it seems like they're quite different, but also if you think about it more closely, it's quite a lot of giving and bringing happiness to other people. The film critic is maybe different in that sense, but also if you're critiquing a film and suddenly you are discovering a new talent, you're changing people's lives. And you are bringing happiness to the world through creativity and films. So I can definitely see some common meaning.
What were your ones?
Okay, so my 3 top lives that I would have considered. One would be marine biologist and working on preserving coral reef. So I would have been diving every day, collecting samples and analyzing and dealing with research and data. Paradise. Then my second would be quite opposite, as in working in an art gallery and doing art conservation as well. I think that'd be quite interesting, learning about different art and trying to preserve it. And the final one, if I could, I would be a travel journalist and I would just go different places and meet some amazing people and write about them. But I felt like in mine 3 lives, the common thing was learning and exploration. That's what kind of stood out in each of them, whether from coral reef to traveling to different countries. I felt like it was all about learning. And that was the kind of the meaning. And then I actually thought that through this when I was looking at those 3 lives, when I was thinking about something meaningful, then I was thinking about my values and likes and preferences. And that was something that made the big meaning of life, as in there is a one answer, something quite practical and specific and narrow and very personal to me. That was kind of my key reflection. Did you have any further reflections around the meaning in relation to the dead?
Well, because I kept coming back to jobs, it was so easy for me to think of jobs and lives that I'd have that related to jobs, which made me start thinking about how important a job is to my life. Yours are all jobs too.
Yeah, kind of actually, yeah.
Yeah.
So, sorry, are you heading in the way that work gives us meaning, or is it overall contribution to the world that gives us meaning?
Well, I don't know, because that's why I was trying to steer away from the work. I didn't want it to be all about work giving meaning. I wanted there to be some contribution back to someone else to give meaning. So I did force myself. I deviated from my natural instinct, which was to go for another job. But yeah, hearing you saying that then, I think the creative elements within the 2 jobs that I did choose, so the circus performer and the film critic, it's about like exploring different ideas and bringing these like things in your head out into the world. And I think that does actually ring true in how I find pleasure in life and then meaning.
But I think it's quite interesting to kind of see that we've selected completely different aspects, completely different lives. And that really means, again, that meaning is very personal. Whether we find something meaningful or not meaningful really depends on our preferences and values and likes and dislikes. And the second one, I really like your reflection about that you were trying to steer away from the job aspect, whereas I kind of went straight away in, if I would be doing something else in life, I would be working as someone else. Research shows that to our happiness, it doesn't really matter what type of work we do, but what really matters is how we think about our work. There is Dr. Amy Wrześniewski, and she identified 3 orientations. She calls it orientations, but really those are like approaches or perspective towards work. And there is job orientation, which is we viewing work as a necessity in life, something that pays the bills. Career orientation, we mainly focusing on success, prestige, and advancement. Or calling orientation, this is when work is integral part of our life, identity, and we gaining fulfillment and having a self-expression through work. And it's not surprising to see that people who have the calling orientation towards work, they report higher satisfaction with their lives and work, have very much increased levels of engagement, and are more likely to adapt their jobs to fit their strengths. And all of this is regardless of their income, education, or type of occupation. I think that was I was just like, boom. Because in a nutshell, what is she saying is that we can have the best job in the world according to maybe income or prestige or status, but if we don't find meaning in it, we will struggle to be happy and committed to it.
But has she defined what the meaning is there?
No, so this is the point. She said it doesn't really matter what type of work it is, and it doesn't matter what elements bring you meaning, because it's so personal, but it is the way you view it, whether it's meaningful or not meaningful to you.
Yeah, but what does the word meaningful mean? Like, I found it difficult to be like, right, well, what's meaningful about my job? What is meaningful? What does it even mean?
The way researchers define meaning is about being part of something bigger than us and having positive contribution. So it's this idea of belonging and knowing that it's not only me, I'm being part of something bigger. That's how roughly meaning is being defined.
Okay, I see. So someone who's very economically focused will see their role of like feeding the economy, building things up, building up the country, building into what we need to spend. We need to spend money, and we'll see the meaning through that way if they're quite economically focused. Mm-hmm. Whereas on the flip side, someone may see society as the bigger, more important focus. And so we'll look at their teams and look at the contribution that they're making to the people around. So they can be within the same job or different jobs, but their meaning is derived from something different depending on where their head's at.
Exactly. And that's what makes it, I think, quite wonderful, that meaning is very personal and we can define it for ourselves, and we can find it in lots of various unusual places. An additional example to what you said is, for instance, there is a story about JF Kennedy. In 1961, he visited NASA headquarters, and he asked a janitor who was mopping the floor what he did at NASA. And the answer both surprised and inspired him, because the janitor said, "I'm helping to put a man on the moon." So it's again going beyond the maybe daily tasks and thinking, what am I contributing to, and what is the meaning behind that? Meaning, especially at work, and purpose is very, very important to happiness at work and satisfaction at work. So it is one of the aspects that has been distinguished by lots of various researchers when they're exploring happiness in the workplace. And there is even a non-profit organization called 80,000 Hours. And they say that if you calculate how many hours we work on average, we have 80,000 hours in our career. And their mission as an organization is to help people to use these hours in the best possible way to solve the world's most pressing problems. How amazing is that?
Yeah, wow, amazing.
But I also was thinking that we can probably find meaning in lots of places, not only in work. Mm-hmm. What are the other places that you finding meaning?
Well, when I stepped away from the other lives and thought about what brings me meaning in my life, I was definitely around connections to people. So I'll think about how I can help people around me, or how I can be involved in people's lives to kind of, in a small way, contribute to their happiness or like help or just tiny things. But I think that brings me a lot of purpose. Even if I just think about a day where there's nothing planned, if I'm going to see somebody, that will give me a purpose in the day. And it's not just another work thing. It's not just another task to be done. It's like, oh, okay, right. Well, I'll get up and I'll go and see that person. And that brings meaning into my life, because work just disappears in the end, really.
Yeah, amazing. And to be honest, many times in our work, it's about relationships that we're building and the colleagues. And I mean, I've been definitely sometimes in situations when the work is like, oh, it's a difficult part or a boring project, but because you have amazing people around you, you keep holding on. And yeah, definitely, I think last 6 weeks, as you know, I've been traveling and just seeing my family. And yes, I've been feeling very blessed and content that I have a big family, because I have 3 sisters and they already have their own family. And I've been traveling in different parts of Poland to see them and see my parents as well. So I was feeling really blessed that I have so many social connections, that I could travel and be in different places and spend time with them. And yeah, that definitely gave me lots of meaning and just feeling really, really connected. There are some studies which are longitudinal, which means that they followed people throughout their life. And there is one particular study in which they followed university graduates through all their life till their elderly years. And when individuals would reflect back upon their time, the thing that they felt they gave the most meaning were relationships, but obviously good quality relationships. So the family, friends, romantic relationships, but overall it was about people. And as you mentioned, it was about making and helping other people to be happier, which is so wonderful. I feel that in order to be a happy person and rounded person, it's good to have meaning in various aspects of your life. So it's good to have find meaning in your work, find meaning in your relationships, find meaning in your hobbies, find meaning in the time when you are alone. And I think that helps us to be happier and then create more happiness in the world. I'm going to use a financial term, diversifying your portfolio of meaning.
Wow,
I think could be quite useful. One thing also that made me really laugh about meaning of life is, as a teenager, I used to love to watch Monty Python.
Yes.
And
The
Meaning of Life, which is obviously a series of short comedy sketches. And I mean, the sketches there are just like ridiculous, but I really like that this particular The Meaning of Life is that it starts when a group of fish in a posh restaurant tank just swimming together casually, and until they look through the tank and they see customers that are eating their friend Howard. And
Yeah.
this is when they start questioning the meaning of life. And then there is lots of funny sketches, obviously, about absurdity of life. And at the end, I don't know if you remember, but the one character is being handed an envelope that contains the meaning of life. And the character looks at it and says, well, nothing very special. And she reads it out, which is, try and be nice to people. Avoid eating fat, read a good book every now and then, get some walking in, and try and live together in a peace and harmony with people of all creeds and nations.
Oh,
Here we go.
that's
Monty
lovely.
Python answered our question.
They nailed it. That is a great film. I like the song with the
love
galaxy
it.
in it.
Wait a sec. Which episode?
The universe itself keeps on expanding and expanding.
Yes. Oh.
In all of the directions it can whiz.
And funny, today actually I was in a cafe in Sopot in Poland, and they had a poster of Monty Python with the Ministry of Silly Walks. Anyway, my question to you is how we can find more meaning in life then?
maybe you look at what's already meaningful to you and do more within that space.
Yeah. I think it's quite interesting to understand what makes you happy, what brings you meaning and purpose, maybe reflect a little bit, and then try to incorporate these elements into your busy life just to boost up the amount of meaning you have. So I actually realized that in my 3 alternative lives, I definitely love to travel, and I'm traveling as much as whatever I can. I have advanced scuba diving license, so I've been diving. And then, yes, I visit art galleries a lot as well. So I feel like I came up with those 3 lives, but I incorporated certain aspects of them in my life just because that learning and exploration is so important to me.
Well, I guess I'm thinking that the things that I enjoy of those 3 alternative lives, I don't know whether they're meaning or happiness. Now I'm seeing that the 2 are so connected, because if I think about the circus alternate life where she's being a circus performer, that really does make me happy when I'm doing like handstands or just keeping fit. But whether I've seen that before as meaning, that isn't the case. That's not sort of how I've seen it. And I can look at those things from those lives, and that brings me happiness to do more of that. But I'm struggling to shift that thought into meaning. I know that that's exactly what we've been talking about. But
Great, Kitty.
But I'm being honest that I am finding it difficult to like my meaning, because I've been guided in this course. We were asked to choose 2 of the UN global goals that we would aim to, that we'd contribute towards through our businesses. And so we go through, there's like 17 of them. And the ones that I chose were equality, so equal opportunities for people, and communities. And if I think about the alternate lives, or if I think about what's important to me, I think those are important for my meaning. And if I think about the way that I run the business, I want it as fair and equal as possible. And I want everyone to be treated exactly the same. And I think equality and fairness is a really important part of how I see the world. When you said about meaning being bigger than what you are, I think I'm now figuring out that is the bigger part of what I am. That's how I want the world to be. If it's so big, I want the world to be exactly equal, no matter what anyone is doing. And that's trickling down.
Love it. Okay, Kitty, as always, you are fabulous, because you just done something that is called by Dr. Emi Wrześniewski a job crafting. Of course, she just spontaneously, Kitty Newman, basically woke up and done job crafting, which has been researched by researchers for many years, but here we go.
It takes me a while to get there.
You remember we spoke about her 3 orientations, and she says that in order to boost your meaning, what you do is to really rewrite your job description or your current job and connect your individual responsibilities with much bigger mission and a much bigger purpose, in order to shift your mindset and really get more meaning in your work. So, there is this idea of considering answers to such question as what bigger purpose would your daily task contribute to? What problems would you like to solve in the world? What values would you like to promote through your work? And this is exactly what you've done.
Oh, great. Phew. Thank goodness. Thank goodness I found my meaning. That would have been embarrassing, wouldn't it? Get all the way to the end and I haven't found my meaning.
I also want to pick up, because you said something around the kind of that there are certain aspects that would make you happy and you didn't really think about it as meaning. So my question was, would you be so brave to maybe suggest or how would you feel about the statement that happiness is the meaning of life?
Wow, I actually genuinely just got goosebumps. Is the meaning of life to be happy? Hard, difficult. It seems too No, because if you've incorporated all the things we've talked about before, kindness, empathy, all of that would feed outside of just you. Being happy isn't selfish. Being happy is made from and equips you to be giving and generous and kind and help the world. So maybe the meaning of life is to be happy.
You know what? I was thinking about it like really seriously for a whole week. And I was thinking that, and I was so close to say yes, so close, because I thought like happiness has so many benefits for us as individuals. But also, as we know, there's this domino effect, as you said, on other people. And we know that if we will be happier, then we'll be more successful and we are more kind and etc., etc. But what about when we find meaning through very difficult experiences where it's so challenging, we are really not happy, but through that experience, we find a meaning. And this is when I started feeling that, maybe happiness, maybe it's too easy to just say that happiness is necessarily the meaning of life.
Interesting. But it doesn't mean that it's not the meaning still. It just means that you need those post-traumatic growth moments to feed the happiness and to give you the tools, increase your abilities to then still get to the happiness. For just because something is the meaning of life as well, it doesn't mean that has to be at that level consistently. You know, you can't always, it's not like maths, there's not one answer and that's it.
Yeah,
that's the end of it. But that could be the significant baseline, could be happiness.
Yeah, but then there is, as you say, that maybe it doesn't have to be one specific thing that is an ultimate meaning. And also it can change depending where we are. Yeah, I don't know. But ladies and gentlemen, this is meaning of life according to Kitty Newman. So meaning is actually very important for our happiness. People who feel that they have a meaning and purpose in life, they do feel much more happier and they feel they have more positive impact in their future. We spoke about the fact that meaning is quite personal. It has to be connected to our personal preferences, likes and values. Kitty, you were specifically mentioning that relationships and being part of something bigger than us gives us additional meaning in life. We spoke about 3 orientation towards our work and one particular one giving us meaning. Do you remember them, Kitty?
Oh, that we need to think of our bigger ideas and let it trickle down into our work?
No, that's the home word. So it's job orientation, career and calling orientation. And it doesn't really matter what type of work we do, but it really matters how we think about our work. And if we see it as calling and we have a bigger purpose in it, then we'll be much more happier at our work and life. And to find more meaning, we can incorporate certain activities in our life that are in life with our values. We can try to be part of something bigger. And Kitty, you engage in one very practical aspect of boosting your meaning, which was job crafting.
Yay.
So for numbers, and especially because we're having a secret guest, I thought it would be quite good if we're going to measure our happiness daily. So I thought it would be amazing if we could measure it from 1 to 5, how we're feeling and why every day. and see what kind of data and information we'll get from those numbers at the end of the week to really answer the question, can we measure our happiness?
Yeah, I look forward to that. I wonder where I will be the most grumpy and where I will feel the best. I have a feeling I know when.
And we'll be talking and validating these results next week with Nick Marks, who is a founder and CEO of Friday Pulse, organization that provides real-time insights and data on individual, teams, and organization in relation to happiness in the workplace. How interesting.
Oh, Klaudia, if only the viewers could see the sparkle in your eyes and the excitement. I didn't realise that you were so hyped on data. Earlier when you were talking about the scuba diving, being a, what was it? Being a marine biologist, and you're like, oh, diving and data, oh, bliss. And now I see how excited you are about talking numbers and happiness.
Oh, I'm so excited. I think that the next week episode could have the potential of being my favorite because, yeah, I love data.
Oh, well, I can't wait.
You are skeptical, Kitty. You're just like, yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, no, I am looking forward to it. Everyone, thank you so much for subscribing. Keep sharing it with your friends. What we like is if there's particular episodes that people are sharing with friends that are particularly poignant. So do that, give us a review, and we dare you to be happy.
Bye.